Promised you our conversation tonight is about the economy. Where are we at? What is happening within the different sectors? And of course, what does this mean going forward? Parliament is back in session. That'll be one of the major items on the agenda. A new cabinet in the offing. Where are we now? Where do we need to be and how do we get there? My guests are already here. I'll be introducing you to Donald Mogeni, who is joining us live from Migori County this evening. But let me start with my guests here in studio. Kwame, I'd like to begin with you. What's your assessment of the economy today? A lot has happened this year. Even more has happened in the last month. But what's your assessment of where we are today?
Okay, I mean, far from ideal, right? I mean, this should have been a question. I mean, the budget should have been done, dusted, and we'd be looking at the implementation, but we seem to be marching on the spot, and it's not a nice spot. So obviously far from ideal, and the unfortunate thing is it could get worse. Yeah,
and we'll talk about what the scenarios look like and perhaps how to avert the worst case scenario and perhaps get us back on track. Raymond, the last time we spoke with you here, it was the public participation exercise ahead of the finance bill. A lot of water under the bridge since then. What's your assessment now?
I can say we are currently at a rebirth moment as a country. So economically, what we are looking at is just self-reflection as a country, and then both government, private sector, household, and even at an individual level. And I look at three things. So one is we need to manage our expenses quite well, live within our means, all levels, government, private sector, households, and individuals. Number two, we just need to stop theft. And number three, we need to live within the law. Thank you.
Yeah, interesting. And we'll come and talk a little bit more about that. Yeah. Terence, you're in the markets space.
Yes.
What is that looking like, particularly the issue of debt?
Well, currently, you know that while on the secondary markets, there's been an enhanced trading volumes, of course, not necessarily reflective of the general economy, but there's a number of concerns that prohibit a much better functioning market. And so, you know, we're at that point, as Raymond is saying, that a proper discussion needs to be had to address those key concerns. What, for example, in the secondary debt markets need to be done to then help to support government in terms of the primary issuance, refinancing of debt, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
And we'll come back and talk very interestingly about that bond that was, you know, offered by the government and was heavily undersubscribed. What is the sentiment in the market? Why aren't they taking that? It had a very attractive interest rate, didn't it? Close to 18%, but you know, it would seem investors are shying away from longer-term relationships with the government and opting for perhaps a bit more short-term, cash in, cash out. Yeah. And so we'll talk about that and you know what that says, not just domestically, but perhaps internationally as well, including you know other things like. There's an organization called Moody's. We reported about that, and they didn't have quite a good outlook about this country. Now, Raymond Molenje, who's here with us, talked about living within our means at all levels of government. Donald Mogeni, who's joining me, is in the counties tonight. It would seem, Donald, the counties are also going to have to tighten their belts.
Yes, indeed, I think, and you know, the scenes we've seen today from counties like Nyamira, you know, where, you know, the Gen Zs are already starting to protest against county governments. So we expect that we will see the decentralization of those protests. And, you know, just like the national government needs to, I think county governments will also need to significantly address those fiscal and governance challenges that, you know, we've seen in so many reports over the years. So without a doubt, I think so much needs to be done at national level, but just as much within counties as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, Donald. We'll come back and have this entire conversation with all of you gentlemen. We'll get a little bit deeper into those issues.